There are a lot of heartbroken Australians, Bev, but I tell you what, the small contingent of Nigerian fans that are here are absolutely lifting the vibe and bringing so much happiness. So it's hard to be upset when you see what joy it brings to them. The Nigerians came into this match 100% as the underdogs. They have never really been that far in a Women's World Cup, and the Australians as the co-hosts in the top 10 in the world, most people thought that they would get the job done. Of course, the Matildas had some key injury withdrawals before this match, and that certainly did hurt them tonight. It all started pretty well for the Australians. They were dominating possession. They managed to get ahead right at the end of half-time through Emily Van Egmond, but right after that, that can be the most dangerous time for a team, right after they score, and the Nigerians hit back through Kanu. She did incredibly well. There was a deflection off Ellie Carpenter. The ball fell at her feet and she tapped it in. So it was 1-1 at half-time. Then in the second half, the Super Falcons sprang to life. Despite the fact that the Australians had more chances, were creating more opportunities, Nigeria took the few chances that they had and made them count. First, it was O'Harley to score, to put them ahead. She was injured in the process of scoring the goal, but thankfully she was okay after that. Then it was Shalala after a defensive bungle from Alana Kennedy. Kennedy was heading it back towards her own goal, trying to get it to her goalkeeper, Mackenzie Arnold, but it didn't quite hit the mark and the Nigerians pounced. The Australians threw everything in attack in the last stage of the game to try and get back, to try and get two more goals to equalise. They managed to get one more to Alana Kennedy to make it 3-2, but that was how it finished, 3-2. A shame for the Australians, but a famous win for Nigeria's Super Falcons.
Yeah. So, Amanda, you mentioned, of course, the injury concerns, which the whole country knew about going into this match. What does this mean going forward, and what does the coach have to weigh up, given, you know, the next match is do or die?
Well, there's fingers crossed that Mary Fowler and Ivy Lewick will be fit to return. So they were ruled out with concussion just before the match. They should be okay to return against Canada on Monday night. Sam Kerr, that's the big question that we're all asking. Will she be fit to play? The coach, Tony Gustafsson, has already said they're going to wait until the very last minute before deciding whether she can play against Canada. But considering how high the stakes are now, you would think that even if she's 60-70% fit, they may roll the dice because they need her. This is an absolute must-win game now against Canada in Melbourne, Nam, because the Australians are currently sitting third in their group behind Canada and Nigeria, and only the top two will go to the round of 16.
Yeah. So, you know, in terms of that match, how do you fancy Australia? Does it really depend on the starting lineup?
Well, judging on what the Matildas produced tonight, they're going to have to be a lot better to beat Canada. Canada are the reigning Olympic champions. They were a little bit shaky in that scoreless draw against Nigeria, but they had a 2-1 win over Ireland last night. So they seem to be warming up into things nicely and getting better and better. The Australians, quite frankly, just need to finish their chances. There was not a problem in creating opportunities on goal for them tonight. They just couldn't put them away. And not even that many that were on target. There were some that tested the Nigerian goalkeeper, but most of them were just wide or just over the crossbar. So they have to get more on target and really challenge the goalkeepers more to get on the score sheet. So there may be some changes in that lineup for the Australians in that regard. Tamika Yallop may be one that comes into the side. She hasn't been 100% fit. Kaya Simon hasn't played yet this tournament either. We know how much of an X factor she is, so she would not start because she's still not 100% fit, but if she could come off the bench and produce something, that could make a big difference too. Emily Van Egmond, who came into the side for Mary Fowler, played really well, so you would expect her to stay there as well, but I think there will be some changes definitely for the Australians to take on the force of Canada.
Yeah, and you know, everyone says that the team is not just about Sam Kerr, but you have felt the loss of that kind of magic that she brings, that leadership that she brings, to your point, where you did feel sometimes they were just pressing too hard tonight.
And it's not just about the goals that Sam Kerr scores. Of course, that is a huge factor. She's the all-time leading goal scorer for the Australians. but it's the opportunities that she creates and the attention that she attracts, because defenders flock to her, and then that opens up space for other players to be able to create opportunities and score goals themselves. And her leadership cannot be underestimated. As soon as Van Egmond scored that goal, she sprinted straight to the sidelines directly to Kerr to give her a hug, and the whole team embraced Kerr. So you can see how central she is to this team. So her absence is definitely being felt. She's trying her best to lift her team and still motivate them from the sidelines, but it's not the same. She is one of the top 3, I would say, best women's footballers in the world. So when she's not on the park, it does leave a big hole.
You feel that. Good to have you on, Amanda. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Bev.